Hey, y'all. Hey, it's JJ Conway. I'm so excited for our Wealthy Me in 23 broadcast today. Michelle Johnson is going to take us to Dubai. Not the Dubai you're thinking about, but the Dubai that's going to get you out of debt, get you an elevated life, and get you everything that you have wanted physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and relationally. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. All right, well, for those of you who didn't know, I had a little fender bender. Someone rear-ended us. They were looking at their phone and didn't realize that the light turned green, but we stopped going. And so I've been kind of under the weather. I think the stress of all that, not only going in the hospital last week, but then also the stress of everything kind of resulted in a cold. And I'm doing my best with fermented foods, exercise, and rest, and lots of water to try and keep this from becoming worse. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and start over. Okay. All right, because what I want to do is I want to cut this, and then I want to be able to give it to Monique, like I don't want to have a cut and then it's all me coughing in the middle of her video, right? So if y'all just indulge me for just a second, let me go ahead and if y'all just indulge me for a second, let me go ahead and do that. Okay. Where did I go? Okay. So anyway, I want to welcome you all to. I want to welcome. I want to welcome you. Oh my goodness, y'all! I'm so sorry. We want to go to this live format where basically all the podcasts are live, so that way I don't have to do extra editing. It just goes straight to the YouTube channel, and then it gets extracted and straight to Libsyn. Like, we're trying to streamline everything, but I think today is making me feel like maybe that is not what I need to do. But that's okay. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. And what does John Maxwell say? You're never good the first time. But here's the thing: you got to start in order to get good. And it doesn't take a lot of extra effort to be extraordinary, but it does take a little extra above ordinary. So we're gonna work on it. We're gonna work on it, and eventually we're gonna get it right. So today, what I want to do is I want to welcome you for our Wealthy Me in 23 rebroadcast. I want to welcome you to our session today. We have got Monique Johnson, who is going to talk to us about Dubai. She's going to take us to Dubai, not the Dubai. Oops, not the Dubai that you're thinking of. Oh my goodness, y'all. All right, look, third time's I'm sorry for those of you who are like, what is she doing? We are going to I'm just gonna say it all over again. For those of you who are new to this broadcast, what we've been doing is we have been rebroadcasting every Monday. We have been rebroadcasting the best talks from our Wealthy Me in 23 conference that we held between Christmas and New Year's. It was to help us get set for the new year. And I know everybody already had their vision boards. Everybody already had their goals for the year set, but this was an application. See, it's one thing to talk about all the stuff that we're actually wanting to do, but it's a whole nother thing to actually get out there and do it. Okay. And so what we did during that conference is we brought together experts and people who are on the journey, just like me and you. And we talked about how are we going to, no kidding, do it this year? How are we going to make things happen? As Dr. Jonas said in one of the first talks, it's what time is it? It's now o'clock. We need to do it now. And so how are we going to push past the clutter of all the different things that are competing for our attention? And how are we going to do it now? And one of those wonderful talks that's going to show us how to do it now, she's going to take us to Dubai in order to help us do it now. Her name is Michelle R. Johnson, and it's not the Dubai you're talking about and thinking about, not the Dubai that we're thinking we're going to have a retreat on, but this Dubai is going to make great change in your life with practical steps that you can implement today and that can carry you throughout the rest of the year. But first, I want to play something for you that's very, very special to me. This is going to be something that I am very excited about going in August. I know I have a multicultural audience. However, if you have been in my audience for any length of time, then you understand that there are absolutely no kidding issues for minorities, especially minority women who wish to build wealth in the great United States of America. And as well as although having been military, grown up overseas as a military brat, having traveled all over the world in my capacity as a military officer and also in the ministry, one of the things that I have discovered all over the world is that the United States is still the best place for women, especially women of color, to be able to rise above the generational scarcity and poverty that follow many of us and be able to build wealth. However, that said, there are still some obstacles and there are still some concerns of how can we make it forward in a system that traditionally has not been friendly to us and has held many people back instead of pushing them forward. I'm thankful for the changes. I'm so thankful for the changes that are here today. And if you're coming on to see Monique's talk, this has absolutely nothing to do with what she's talking about, but this is my heart and I'm sharing with you today. And I'm going to invite you to something very special. That's related to this concept, this topic that I'm making. Okay. So I'm very thankful for the advancements in our culture today. You know, a lot of people, when I was active duty military, they would always talk about "Make America Great Again," and I have no comment on the person who made that phrase popular. But one thing that I always thought was funny, and I was going to say at my retirement ceremony, but so many random people I didn't invite showed up, leaders of the command, that they came to see the general who retired me, basically, that I left it off my speech. But I was just going to end the speech with a question for everybody who talks about the good old days and Make America Great Again. You know, which America are you talking about? Are you talking about the America where people like my dad couldn't go to the Air Force Academy that I graduated from? Were you talking about the 1970s where I couldn't go to the Air Force Academy that I graduated from? You know, maybe we talking about the 50s where people like me had the right to vote, had it for quite some time, but found themselves in many jurisdictions blocked by Jim Crow and other local policies designed to keep people like me from voting. So it's like, I understand that some people have some nostalgia from when life was a little simpler, but for me, America is the best it has ever been for someone who looks like me and has my gender to succeed, although there are obstacles. And when I saw this video today from Dr. George Fraser advertising the Power Networking Conference, the point that he's making is so central and so well stated to why my tagline is building wealth together that I just had to share it with you. And of course, it doesn't hurt that I'll be one of the power coaches in August for the Power Networking Conference. So I super hope you will join me in Houston and that you will be able to work with me, network with me, and as I network with and get connected to and be plugged into this greater network of people who are making it happen. You know, I was introduced to the Power Networking Conference not long, a couple years back in 2019, I think. And it was phenomenal to me to see myself in a room of people who were the same as me. We had different backgrounds, we might have different religions, we might have different experiences, we had different genders, we had different family statuses and things like that. But that room was filled with people who had succeeded and they wanted to create pathways for others to succeed. So if you're here to see Monique's talk, we're going to get that up in just about 5 or so minutes. But first, I want to invite you to get connected to millionaires and billionaires who are standing by and waiting to pour into your business, pour into your life, pour into your family legacy. All right, let's tee up the Power Networking Conference.
I prepared a chart. This chart to me represents beautiful, educated, moneyed black people all over America. And what you will notice about these beautiful black people all over America is that everybody is doing their own thing, caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism, having forgotten that it takes a village to raise a child. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. There is no power here. There is no power with us being disconnected. See, there's nothing wrong with dispersion. I live in Cleveland, you live in Atlanta. We have folk in the Caribbean, we have folk in Africa. That's dispersion. That's okay, but we do not have to be disconnected. We are a disconnected people. We are powerless in disconnection. Where all the power is. You see? This is where all the power is. Whether you are at the center of your own network or part of someone else's network, this is where the power is.
And that is George Fraser. I don't take lightly what he has done to illuminate our consciousness.
Is most effective concentrated. I don't care what it is that you want to do, what profession you want to engage in, what business you want to get into. I can introduce you to brothers and sisters all over America. They are doing it to death. You just don't know who they are. You are disconnected from them. You are disconnected from them. There is no power in disconnection.
There is no conference that covers those three topics comprehensively and gives people the biggest bang for their buck.
When we connect, we prevent interlopers from coming into our communities and taking and destroying at will. Try to open up the Booker T. Washington delicatessen in Chinatown and see what happens. So we must connect. We must connect the dots. That must be the movement for our people. Beautiful African proverb that says, when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. When spiders unite, they can tie up a lion. That must be the movement for our people in the 21st century.
I'm hoping that you will join me in Houston for the Power Networking Conference the first weekend of August. It is one of the most powerful things I have ever attended. I think when I think over my life of the things that have impacted my life, my annual church conference, absolutely at the top of the list. General Assembly of the Church of the Living God International. But when I look at other things that have had phenomenal impact, not only upon my life, but my business and my children and my future generations, the Power Networking Conference is at the top of the list. Not just saying that because I'm going to be a power coach and I want y'all to come and see me and stop by and support me, right? But because I care about up-leveling communities. I feel as someone who has had an advantage, who has created an advantage, who has had doors opened up for them. I feel like it's my responsibility to create pathways for those coming behind me. See, there may not have been another Black physicist in the Air Force before I showed up on the scene. In fact, they told me I couldn't do it. They told me that Blacks can't do physics. I didn't know as a recent college student in 1993 that the Department of Defense had just released a report in 1991 that said that Blacks were not capable, still not capable of advanced leadership and mathematical and complex thinking skills. I didn't know that report had just gone out. I didn't know that that's the reason that the Air Force Academy had the feeling they had about me. I knew that there were greats who had gone on before me. I thought about Benjamin Davis. I thought about all of these different military leaders and all of these different scientific leaders who have done things that I wanted to do. And I wanted to see myself following in their footsteps. And I feel that there is somebody out there looking at me. I followed the trail they left for me. I made that trail a little bit wider for the next generation and will continue to do so. And when you walk into this room at the Power Networking Conference, let me tell you what you're going to find. You're going to find people who have achieved 7, 8, 9, 10 figures of success and are waiting to pour into you. All they are waiting for is for you to take the first step. They're waiting for you to take the first step to show that you are committed to your future and that you understand the value of being in that room. All right, so I want you to join me. I've got the link down here on the screen, jjclink.com/PNC. That'll get you my Power Coach discount. I only have a few of those slots remaining though, so don't think you're going to come back and ask JJ Conway later on, because I can't pull out my Steelers discount code on this next month, right? When those slots are gone, they're gone. And the conference is a $1,400 a person, $1,499 a per person conference. But when you click that link, you're going to see that you're getting a phenomenal speaker discount. It's on early bird now for a few more weeks. And then next month, I believe it goes up to $1,499. But even the discount I've got for you is even a greater discount than on their main website right now. So take advantage of this opportunity. You know, a lot of times we lose out on opportunities because when the doors open up, we're too afraid to walk through them. We're afraid that something costs too much money. We're afraid that something's going to cost too much time. We're afraid of what our spouse or significant other is going to think. We're afraid that our children are going to laugh at us. Now, I'm getting to the age of life now where I finally understand what that's all about. We're afraid that people are going to disapprove of us. We're afraid that we're going to fail. Or we might even be afraid that we'll succeed. Because one of the things that happens with succeeding is when you succeed, now you've taken away the excuses of everybody else in your circle that's been holding you back. And then it's time for you to make a decision. And I'm telling you today, I'm encouraging you today, I'm inviting you today to make a decision for your future by joining me at the Power Networking Conference in Houston. All right. So that's my little advertisement for the day. I know I've got a Juneteenth Legacy Conference coming up. I got my call for speakers. If you're interested in speaking, go out to JuneteenthLegacy.com and click on the apply for speakers. I still have a few more slots left to share the stage with Dr. Boyce Watkins, with Sanithia S. Bland from Tough as Nails, and with Dr. Cheryl Wood, a global speaker, university chair and founder. I am so excited for you all to come and hear from this Power Pack lineup. We've got the military Black Vets free breakfast. It's going to be phenomenal. But what I really want for you to do today, for the rest of the time that we have today, I want you to go to Dubai. That's right. I want you to go to Dubai. Well, JJ, I don't have Dubai money. Well, if you listen to my next speaker, you will have some Dubai money. I'm talking about Monique Johnson. Y'all, she killed it at the Wealthy Me in 23 conference. And I am just as pleased as punch to bring her before you today. Another round of applause for Monique Johnson. Yours, Monique.
Thank you. Well, first of all, my congratulations to you for doing such an amazing job with this event. The speakers have been right on point. The millionaire mindset is definitely a thing that we must talk about, we must train about, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about briefly. So what is the millionaire mindset? It is the way that we think about our abundance. It is the way that we think about our future and our legacy. Millionaire mindset is the way that you perceive your ability to obtain and generate wealth. Let's talk a little bit about some of the amazing points, or rather quotes, from some millionaires. And then I'm going to take you through my step, which is Dubai, DBAI, and I'll explain exactly what that means. So a millionaire mindset for some is hard to obtain because there is something called fear that gets in the way. But as Ariana Huffington says, fearlessness is like a muscle. I know from my own life that the more I exercise it, the more natural it becomes to not let my fears run me. So keep that in mind. Another great quote, this is from T. Harv Eker. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people want to be rich. Keep that in mind, commitment versus want. And another from Michael Masters. The trouble for most people is they don't decide to get wealthy. They just dream about it. What are you hearing here? Action. We must take action. We must shift our mindset. You must decide and you must believe you can, and then you need to do something about it. And that is what I call DBAI, decide, believe, act, and be intentional. But what does that really mean? How does that translate to building wealth? Well, it means this. You have to make a decision that you want more. You have to act on that decision by believing you can. And how do you do that? Well, a lot of people in America, and I'm going to stick with America right now, are in debt. And we've heard from previous speakers about the debt situation. If most Americans are in debt, it means that you are not able to save or not saving much. What is the problem with being able to save? Well, the biggest problem with being able to save, people will say, is that they don't make enough money. But that's not necessarily true, because you have stories from, let's say, the school teacher who just got out of college and she's, got the entry-level position and she's not making a lot of money, but yet, and I'm talking about the budgetista, y'all, but yet she was able to find ways to cut expenses, to start putting money aside, and later was able to invest and save and do great things. So it's not always about how much money you make. It's what are you doing with the money? And we had a speaker earlier talking about stewardship. How are you stewarding the money that you have? I teach budgeting. And again, I am Monique R. Johnson, and I am Envision It. Envision 1T, that is my website. And that is where I literally teach people how to budget, how to save, how to make a plan. Oftentimes, Americans don't stop and literally create a budget plan because sometimes it's fearful. And I'm going to go into some statistics just to kind of back it up. In an article there's a great article in Forbes, and there's also a great article in Expensivity. Expensivity says that America is in a savings dilemma. America's savings dilemma is that 20% of all Americans put aside little to nothing of their annual income. 20% of all Americans put aside little to nothing of their annual income. The average American saves slightly less than 5% of their disposable income. Less than 5% of the disposable income. That's your income after taxes. Only 2/3 of Americans would struggle to produce the necessary funds to handle a $1,000 emergency expense. And I know most have had a $1,000, if not a $500 emergency expense. The question becomes, are you in this statistical group that would not be able to handle it? If you are in this group, you want to learn to set a budget and live by the budget. Does that mean that you are operating in a lack mindset? No. You are operating in a wealth mindset because you are being a steward over your money, and you are not just throwing money away, because you know the power of money can break you. Let money make you by you controlling it. Assign your money tasks. Assign your money tasks. Make your money work for you. What are some of the tasks you can assign your money to? Assign it the task of saving. Assign it the task of investing. Assign it the task of being available for an emergency. Assign it the task of being there as an allowance to reward yourself at times. You don't want to have a mindset that says, I can't do anything, I can't have anything. You want the mindset that says, I will leverage the money that I have to get the wealth that I want. You do that by controlling your spending. You do not do frivolous spending. You do not just buy on impulse, because then you are not thinking about the consequence of that particular action. So you have to have a mindset shift. Now, some might argue that this is a mindset of lack because you don't think you have enough to do anything. No, you are having a mindset of abundance, because if you take care of the money you have, you're going to go get the greater things that you want later in life. It's about prioritizing the use of your funds. And it is also about making sure you don't operate in debt. Oftentimes, if we do not sit down and monitor our spending, we will do things like go and get a payday loan, as someone said earlier. We will do things like go and use our credit cards to get something because we've overspent the money. We have not been good stewards of our money. So I would implore you to not be afraid of budgeting. And the reason why I say not be afraid is the statistics that I read talked about Americans being afraid of budgeting. That's why a lot of people don't set a budget plan. It's overwhelming for some. Some will say, oh, I'm not good at math, or I'm not good at spreadsheets, or I don't do well with financial programs or financial apps. Do not allow a fear to stop you from taking control of your potential for wealth. Budgeting is very, very simple. Honestly, it's really just looking at how much you have coming in and how much you're allowing to go out and where it's going. I'm going to give you an example of a business owner who refused to spend money on the right things. There's a business owner who has a potential to grow his company, but he refuses to invest his money in great customer service training of his few employees. Because of that, oftentimes the clients or customers who come through do not get their questions answered, and they feel like they are not really getting their money's worth for the business. This particular business owner didn't invest in it because he said he didn't have the money, but instead he would spend his money on things that did not matter and it did not grow his business. So the lesson in this is leverage your money and ensure that whatever you spend it on, it is giving you a return on your investment. That is the wealthy mindset. The wealthy mindset says, I have this money, but I'm not going to go blow it on something that is not going to give me a return. I have this money and I'm going to utilize it to make more of it for me. That is what you want to do with the money that you have at your disposal. I'm Monique, and I am done speaking for the moment.
All right. I hope y'all enjoyed that broadcast. I hope y'all enjoyed hearing that perspective that Monique brought to the table. I think that, uh-oh. Sorry about that. Well, okay. I hate to have a big group on and then all of a sudden I mess it all up and drive everybody away with my getting distracted by the cat because I forgot to close the door. But listen, wealth building strategies, they're not some super secret down in the, hidden in the pirate's cave. These are time-tested success strategies that everybody can implement in their lives. And if you want to learn more about different success strategies that you can implement in your life, then head on over to my website, buildingwealthtogether.com. You will find that these strategies that Monique talked about, or that you've heard throughout the entire Wealthy Me in 23 series, you will realize that these strategies, they are simple. Now, they may not be easy because we have had so long of our lives trapped in mediocrity or trapped in fear. Oh, that's a big one. Fear. I think for a lot of us, the reason we haven't moved forward in our life isn't because we don't have the ability to, it's because we're afraid. It isn't that we don't have enough money. In fact, there was a huge study of over 1,000 self-made millionaires, and one of the most common categories of millionaire in the United States, of self-made millionaire in the United States, was teachers. And y'all, I'm married to an educator who gets paid far above what most music educators get paid, because we live in the great state of Texas, and Texas values their band directors as part of the football team, right? But a lot of other places, teachers make a very modest salary. And so, one of the things that I looked at that research and said, wow, it shows that consistency pays. A lot of times we do this thing where we're going to put one big full gargantuan effort into doing something one day, and we expect that to be what leads us to success. And what really leads us to success is the consistent daily actions every day. Taking that small step every single day to your goal is better than taking one big huge step once a month, or one big huge step on the weekends. You can see that in your relationships with your significant other or your children, if you have any. You can see that, because what happens if you decide, oh, I'm going to neglect them for 2 weeks in a row, but I'm going to make it up for them with quality time in Disney or something like that. That's not how relationships work. Guess what? It's the same with health. We can't just eat like garbage all week long and then run a marathon and say, well, I've burned enough calories, it should negate all the garbage. No. That's not how life works. Life works by taking consistent daily action in the direction of your dream. Life works by taking actions that Monique taught us today to manage what we have. Instead of pining away for more, instead of worrying about what somebody else has or doesn't have, to really manage what we have and to live according to our purpose instead of our present situation. Yeah, I may only have 2 pennies to rub together today, but my purpose is to change communities. And so one of 2 things has to happen to change communities. Either the Lord has to put it in my hand, or he has to send me the people who got it in their hand. And when we begin to shift our focus, when I began to shift my focus, when I stopped looking at being in $845,000 in debt, and I started looking at what God had called me to do, then I began to focus on that. My energy began to become aligned with that, and I began to be able to resonate better with people who were on the same track. And guess what started to happen? Even when I was in $800,000 of debt, even when I was in $600,000 of debt, even when I was in $500,000 of debt, the Lord began to open up doors for me. People with money, people with resources, people with connections. They began to do and execute the vision that God had given me. So maybe I didn't have it in my hand. Maybe I didn't have then what I had now, but I have always been doing a good work for God's kingdom and for his people. I have been equipping God's people for a long, long time. When I had something, when I didn't have something, because it's not about your present situation. It's about your calling and your gifting and your purpose. And if you will walk according to your purpose, I promise you, all the details will fall into place. You rise above the scribble scrabble of life, and then you start walking according to your purpose. You will see doors come open. And that's what this Wealthy Me in 23 series is all about. So now if you are interested in learning more, hearing the rest of the talks, if you've missed our series, well, you could hear most of them just by going to my YouTube channel and catching the back issues, or going to my Building Wealth Together podcast and hearing the back issues. So go to buildingwealthtogether.com and you'll get links to all that good stuff. But you could also get the complete discussion, including my hour-long class on investing in these turbulent times, when you go to wealthymein23.com. You can see it down there, wealthymein23.com. I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll be back next week, and I hope that you will continue to walk in abundance and leave a legacy. I'm JJ Conway. Thanks for watching. Y'all take care and be blessed.